Our dear subscribers, you're welcome back to our YouTube channel. Today, you're going to be listening to another interesting story by Johnson, The Other Side of the Coin. Please sit back, relax, and enjoy yourself. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Let us know what you think about our story. Comment and let us know. We want to hear from you. We want to hear your feedback. Enjoy.
My name is Johnson, and I firmly believe that my story can serve as a valuable lesson to many. For several days now, the TV interview with Nana has gone viral, and everyone has pointed accusing fingers at me, claiming that I used Nana. It is wrong to draw conclusions based on a one-sided story. I am here to tell my side of the story. One thing that remains undeniable is that I am a genuinely kind-hearted person. Contrary to the unjust accusation of being a manipulator by Nana, I simply crossed paths with the wrong individual at a challenging time in my life. This is where it all began. My name is Johnson Coker. I come from a family of 5, including father and mother. I am the first son of my parents. I have 2 other brothers. I come from a middle-class family where my parents provided the basics. I was always grateful, especially seeing my friends struggle because of their parents' inability to provide. I graduated with a GPA of 4.0 in manufacturing engineering from one of the top universities in Nigeria. I always felt that I could have done better if I was admitted into the department that I wanted, computer engineering. Years spent studying manufacturing engineering were like torture to me. My friend, Jude, who traveled to the United States for a mechanical engineering degree, was doing well and working in a big company. He spent only 3.5 years, while I spent 7 years due to a series of strikes during my school years. Fortunately for me, I was admitted into the university at a young age. So, I finished at the age of 23. I always thought that the 7 years I spent studying in Nigeria was a waste, but now I realize that those years groomed me into the man that I am today. With the help of Jude, I gained admission to one of the Ivy League schools in the US for a bachelor's degree in computer science. At age 25, I was experienced with life and education. It was a good ride. I received many scholarships, tuition waivers, and support from Jude, which made it easy for me to focus in school. I attended conferences, took extra coding classes, did 2 internships at top companies, and won numerous awards. I had a vision, and I went for it, graduating with a GPA of 4.0. 4.0 was my biggest accomplishment yet. Everyone around me knew I was destined for greatness. Throughout my years in school, I avoided relationships because I considered them distractions. Not to brag, I had many ladies flocking around me, and it was easy for me to pick any lady if I was interested in her. I wasn't only intelligent and smart, I was also a fine, 6 feet 4 inches tall, dark man. My mother always used me as a reference when describing handsome men. She would say, "One boy came to buy books from my store. He was tall and handsome like Johnson." My brothers were always jealous. I graduated at 29 with only 1 year of optional practical training to work in the US. I didn't have a backup plan. Thought my job would retain me, thinking I was a big asset. But no, before the end of my work permit, they were asking me to submit a renewed permit. After my opt ended, I became jobless, living illegally in the US and depending on my friend. I hated my life. This was not the vision I had for myself. One day, my friend Jude advised me to get married. I was reluctant because I believed in marriage and never wanted to marry just to secure my stay in the United States. "Who said you cannot marry for both, Charlie?" Jude told me, "Find someone to fall in love with. You're a fine man and can get anyone you want." I saw where he was coming from and decided to give it a try. I went on dating sites, placed my finest picture, listed my school and course, certifications, and more. I know I did too much, but I wanted to stand out. I was desperate. Seconds after signing up, ladies were viewing my profile and hitting me up. I had too many options. Of all the ladies, I decided to go for a walking red flag. Nah. Nana was a beautiful 25-year-old black lady. Her parents were Africans, who migrated to the U.S. Nana was born in the United States. What attracted me to Nana was that she was a smart girl who knew what she wanted. But Jude always teased me that I was attracted to her well-endowed front and behind. Okay, if I am to be truthful, her body features played a role too. She was high maintenance, which I totally ignored. She was a sales executive. We dated for 5 months, and during those months, I was always borrowing money from Jude to take her on expensive dates. I hoped to pay him back when I started working. 6 months into the relationship, I asked her to be my wife. She agreed because she knew I was a big asset. With my kind, of course, I would make good money to fund her luxurious lifestyle. I think we both had motives for getting married. My several years in the Western world has made me realize that relationships are kind of transactional, but people are not willing to accept it. However, I loved Nana, considering that my parents' relationship was and is still blissful. I was ready to do anything to make my relationship with Nana work. There was something about Nana that made you want to give her your last penny. She had this welcoming and attractive aura. She knew how to make you feel good while she got what she wanted. She came from a well-respected home and was loved by people around her. She always knew the right words to say. 3 months into the marriage, she was the one taking care of the family. 6 months after our wedding, my work permit came through. I was so happy. Now was the time to be the man of the house, pay my debts, and prove to Nana that she made the right decision. I tried applying for jobs but couldn't get a good paying job. The job market was tight. I went back to my former place to manage. They rejected me, saying they were overstaffed. I guess the pandemic played a big role in my inability to secure a good job. I started doing petty remote jobs to pay bills while applying for my dream job. The petty jobs did not sit well with Nana, and that literally turned her into a beast, different from the woman I dated before marriage. She was always nagging, complaining that this was not what she signed for. She was ashamed to show me off to her colleagues. She turned me into her maid, telling me to prepare meals for her before she got back from the office, even though I was working remotely too. Nana was disgusted by my presence. She would insult me and curse me out, telling me that if not for her, that my sorry ass would be out on the street still squatting with my friend. I became a shadow of myself during the marriage. I couldn't do anything to defend myself, knowing that the law favored women in the Western world. I would cry myself to sleep on top of my computer while looking for jobs in Nana's absence. I never knew something like this could happen to me. I wasn't a student. What was happening to me was beyond spiritual problems, as my people called it. Nana always came home late. Sometimes she wouldn't come home for a week. I was always happy when she was away because she made me feel worthless whenever she was around. I don't know the lies that Nana spewed to her family and friends, but they all hated me. She would complain about my gifts to her, stating how they were of low quality, and complain harder when I decided to stop buying her gifts. She made it seem like I wasn't working, but I was doing customer service while still looking for high-paying tech jobs. What I went through for 2 years with Nana was something I wouldn't wish on anyone. The only people that kept me going were my family and Jude. During this time, Jude got married to his childhood friend, Yua, a US-based Edo lady from Nigeria. This was not what I had envisioned myself doing. I knew I was a big asset to any company. What was happening, I couldn't explain. One day, I went for a job interview and Nana was on leave. What I saw when I got home shocked me out of my living existence. Nana was on our matrimonial bed, having threesome with 2 men. I pretended that I didn't see them and sneaked out without being noticed. I was ready to end it all. I called Jude and cried on the phone for the first time, telling him what I saw. Jude immediately advised me to leave Nana. Jude was unaware that my reason for calling was to hear his voice for the last time and tell him how grateful I was for all his help. Everyone deserves a friend like Jude. I wanted Jude's voice to be the last voice I heard before ending it that night. When I got home, I took the rope I bought 2 weeks ago with the intention of ending it then, but there was no going back today. Nana came into the room, saw the rope, laughed, and laughed. A voice came over me and said, "Is she worth dying for?" I immediately dropped the rope and changed my mind. The next day, I continued with my remote job with the determination to succeed. After work, I decided to take a walk around the park to clear my head. When I returned home, Nana had thrown my bags and belongings outside. This was an apartment where I paid 50% of the rent and utilities. I did not fight it. I decided to pack my things. I was surprised to see Jude and his wife arrive at my house unexpectedly, as if my spirit had ministered to him. They helped me pack my stuff and I followed them to their house, where I stayed for 2 months. With the small salary from my remote job and other petty jobs, I decided to move to a small apartment. Even though Jude and his wife protested, they wanted me to stay with them till I got my dream job. They were not complaining, but I understand the need for privacy in a marriage. Jude supported me and helped me furnish my apartment. Even though my place was small, it became my little sanctuary. I received mail that my 2-year green card was out. I was so excited. Jude advised me to join the military. A few months later, I joined the Navy. During my naval training, I met Taylor, an African-American lawyer. We became close even after training. Immediately after training, I divorced Nana and became a U.S. citizen. It was a fresh start for me. Taylor and I became fond of each other, but we were not dating. She had a boyfriend. I always wished she was single because she was a good and religious lady that everyone would want as a wife. I maintained boundaries with her even though her boyfriend seemed to be playing her. I wanted her to figure things out on her own. After my training, I secured a temporary job as an IT specialist in the engineering department in the Navy. I kept applying for other jobs while working. I applied for the role of an IT executive specialist with one of the S&P 500 companies. This time, I lost faith in job applications after numerous attempts. I was called for the first interview, which I didn't take seriously because I expected it to be as the previous ones. Surprisingly, I was called for 3 more interviews. Finally, at the last stage, I was given the job. I couldn't contain my joy. I cried, prayed, and cried. Was this it? After years of trying, it just came easily. For 2 days, I couldn't explain how I was feeling. I told Jude and Taylor the good news. We threw a party. I was very happy because my pay was beyond my imagination. I could buy 2 houses within a year with that kind of salary. I called my family and told them, and they celebrated with me. 2 months later, I relocated to my place of work. Months later, I was living big. I bought a house for Jude back in Nigeria to appreciate him and bought expensive gifts for his first son. Everything was going fine until Nana called me one day, claiming she was pregnant. I laughed, incredulous. How was that even possible? She explained that she stashed my sperm from a used condom when we were still together and froze them for future use. She said she always wanted her son to have my fine genes but was not ready when we were married. I was dumbfounded. I knew Nana was a gold digger, but I never imagined she would go to such lengths to secure a future at my expense. I immediately involved my lawyers. After months of court battles, I won the case. Because 1, needed the permission of both parties involved to produce a child. 2, Nana was not pregnant yet, but she had my sperm frozen like she said. She never knew that I would result in legal battles. She believed in her ability to persuade. She thought that I would jump for joy at the mention of pregnancy. I spent a significant amount of money on top-notch legal representation because I wanted nothing to do with Nana. I considered her bad luck, and I believed any child from her would bring the same misfortune. During the trial, she accused me of being a manipulator who married her solely to secure my permit and citizenship. That was true when I joined the dating site, but when I started dating Nana, I fell in love with her. After winning the case, I approached her and confessed how much I loved her despite my initial motives. I pointed out that she also had an ulterior motive for marrying me. If she had been patient, it could have been a win-win situation for both of us. Eventually, Taylor and I decided to get married. Don't ask me how. That's a long story for another day. I hope that my story has cleared me of the incorrect impression that Nana gave me when she appeared on television.
We hope that you had a nice time listening to John C. tell his story. Please don't forget to like, share, subscribe, support us so that this channel can grow and we can keep giving you interesting real life stories. Do have a beautiful day. See you next time.